Here's a breakdown of what just happened in the Middle East. Israel has preemptively struck Iran. Now, why did Israel preemptively strike Iran? It's because Israel is convinced that Iran is just days away from being able to essentially have completely developed 15 nuclear bombs. As a result, Israel has just targeted in Tehran and in the northeast of Tehran and at the Natanz nuclear facility multiple strategic locations that are designed to impede Iran's ability to actually deploy a nuclear weapon. Israel is calling this a moment for the state of survival, a decisive moment for the future of Israel. We're being told that the operation is called Rising Lion. We are being told from Israeli sources that Iran is on the verge of achieving a nuclear breakthrough, again, within a few days, to be able to produce as many as 15 bombs. Obviously, there could be some propaganda additives to that. That said, Bibi Netanyahu and Israeli leaders have been, quote-unquote, transferred to a safe place. Israel is on lockdown, and people in Israel are being told to shelter in place as we expect a potential Iranian counterstrike against this Israeli military operation against these strategic locations, which again included strikes against high-rise apartment buildings. Here's one that's nearly collapsed. We're also being told that these strikes may go on for many days. We're being told that up to 15 Israeli fighter jets were involved in this operation. Brady Pierce, thank you, by the way, for the $20 donation. This type of coverage is one of your superpowers. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Early stage nuclear sites have also been hit. Donald Trump is convening an emergency meeting. Penthouse apartments have been hit to target Iranian commanders. Bibi says that we have struck the heart of the Iranian nuclear enrichment program, that this operation will hurt Iran's nuclear infrastructure, ballistic missile facilities, and their military capabilities. The U.S. allegedly was not involved in these strikes. Some of the initial reporting, we believed that there would not be strikes against civilian locations. However, as we can see from damage here, it's very clear that there are damaged high-rise apartment buildings. Iranian news is also reporting fatalities in the region. In addition to that, we have Lindsey Graham now posting on X, "Game on" and "Pray for Israel." We are also seeing videos of the various different strikes and footage of what some of these strikes actually looked like. We'll go ahead and put one of those up on screen in just a moment. There we go. Something else to keep in mind is that, yes, futures markets are falling. Typically, geopolitical issues are a buy-the-dip opportunity. Gulf War, 9/11, operation, the Hamas operation against Israel, the Israeli counterstrike. Typically, geopolitical issues are a buy-the-dip opportunity. I know that sounds a little insensitive when we're talking about war and death, but I know that people are going to ask the question. So generally, they're not an economic issue. They only become an economic issue when they drag on and they add additional negative weight to our economy in the form of potentially more expensive oil prices, which could then sap further consumer purchasing power. Oil prices, gas prices are a huge component of individuals' ability to spend, and it's very much front and center for American consumers, and the American consumers already substantially weakened thanks to years of inflation that has run rampant and out of control. We are now presently seeing oil markets chill out a little bit as we're not seeing a continuation of strikes at this very moment, and we have not yet seen a counterstrike. We also see that oil prices here on the Western blend are up 7.61%. We see that again is the Western blend, WTI. Brent prices up about 7.5%. 5%. That is the international blend of oil. This is a very significant spike in oil prices. Natural gas up about 2.8. Do keep in mind that WTI was up as much as 9% earlier during these attacks. So a little bit volatile right now. We do see gold up about 1%. However, risk assets are selling off, with Bitcoin almost back down to its 102, 164 support line. We see Tesla down 3.48 in the overnight hours here, breaking that 318 level. NASDAQ futures dropping in the overnight market about 1.84%. GameStop down 4%. Adobe down 3%. Restoration Hardware still up after earnings. Robinhood down 3%. Anyway, risk assets, somewhat of a sell-off. This is not a surprise. Some of the additional content that we're getting, or news updates that we're getting from Newswire services, are that we have Israel's Iron Dome system prepared for a missile and drone counter attack from Iran. Bibi says that we are not fighting with the people of Iran, but our systems are ready. You have the Iron Dome system for short-range protection. You have David Sling for medium-range protection. You have the Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 long-range systems to also protect against an Iranian attack, just like what we had in 2024, where Israel basically shot down over 99% of Iran's counterstrike. Last time, Iran's counterstrike was a counterstrike and done. Now, the question is, will this also be a strike and done? Or is Israel going to keep pounding for days? And is Iran going to keep responding for days? Again, Israel has this shelter in place. We've got dozens of Israeli fighter jets involved. The State Department alerted us via X 4 hours before that there was today would be an important day to pay attention to news. Sure enough, look what happened. Mike Huckabee, 2 hours before the attack, said he was in Jerusalem and saying his prayers. That was a little bit of a hint that this was coming. A number of fatalities are now being reported by Iranian news sources. We also see that Israeli leaders have been moved to safe locations. In addition to this, just sort of side news, Donald Trump is appealing a judicial court order blocking the deployment of California's National Guard in Los Angeles, possibly also the use of military law enforcement. So it's possibly, it's likely that the Marines will also have to be removed, although it could be argued that the Marines are just going to stay on federal property and that they don't need to be removed. Anyway, that's just sort of a little side note in case you hear that. Israel's airspace has been tentatively shut down. We've got flights into and out of Israel on hold at the moment, obviously, as we expect some form of counterattack here. Fire and smoke is being seen at the Natanz nuclear enrichment facility. Google has a little note that the facility is temporarily closed. Obviously, if it was just struck by bombs, that's probably a good idea. You can see if you look at this, I mean, you could Google this yourself, the Natanz nuclear facility, and go to the 3D map view. You can see this facility actually pretty closely. Appears to be a very well perimetered nuclear facility, potentially with multiple layers here of perimeter, right? It looks like you potentially have a wall right here, potentially two walls. This looks like one wall, a second wall right here, so it looks like you've got sort of two perimeter walls on the outside. And then when you zoom out a little bit, it looks like you have a lot of these facilities on the outskirts here, but you also have this very sort of like awkward, unused real estate here in the middle, which appears to be very likely, my guess, bombing padding for bunkers that are underneath these dirt pads here. Mostly one of the reasons I think these areas under this dirt here are very well operated are because you could see what appear to be roads that just go into the dirt and disappear, which are almost certainly some form of like garage doors or opportunities to get into these actual underground bunkers. It's unclear, obviously. You could see the fortification against the dirt, this sort of retaining wall over here. Again, speculation in terms of the exact military layout of this facility, but this is just outside of the city of Natanz, which is actually south of Tehran, although locations in Tehran were struck as well. So here's Natanz. Here's Tehran, where locations were struck as well, both in the northeast of Tehran and other locations within. Again, they were targeting nuclear scientists. They were targeting military leaders. They were really trying to break the ability of the Iranian military to respond to Israel's strikes here. If you jump on over to this screenshot here, you can see a penthouse apartment that was struck clearly quite heavily from Israeli officials. And we're really just sort of now looking for incremental news and updates that are coming out to see if there are going to be any additional strikes. This was all breaking news. I was actually just on a run. I just got into the office and I was talking to the team, about house hack, and I saw this breaking news, and I just ran over to the studio here to jump on this stream. So sorry, I kind of look a little silly here. Israel and Iran exchanged direct fire twice last year. Israel said it took out significant parts of Iran's air defense system last year. It's possible that these were Russian-supplied S-300s. We know there's a substantial link between the Russians and the Iranians. The Iranians build drones within Iran for Russia and within Russia for Russia. We also know that, here you can see a little bit more footage of the attacks from the Fox POV. We also, you can see that explosion in the distance there behind the building. It looks a little laggy though. Oh, there it is. We know that there are proxy wars going on between the United States and Russia, where you have the United States using Ukraine to fight Russia, the CIA basically directing moves and bombs and supplying weapons. And we expect that the United States is doing the same for Israel, providing central intelligence, providing weapons and bombs. The United States says they were not involved in this attack, though obviously we expect that the United States is heavily involved behind the scenes in this attack. We see this, obviously, the suits are calling this alarming to risk assets. I see this as a little bit of a blow to Donald Trump. Obviously, I'm not here to be political. Like I always say, my goal is to just give you the news the way I see it. And if you think I lean left or right, the only thing that I have to say for that is both sides hate me. So, and I do a really good job at both sides hating me. So with that said, Donald Trump did promise to end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours. That didn't go so well. Putin doubled down and has increased his strikes. We were promised trade deals before, after Liberation Day. So far, we've only had one trade deal with a trade surplus nation. Not a single trade deficit nation has had a complete deal. We've only had incremental walkbacks, like with China, or retaliatory tariffs, or reciprocal tariffs. We have not had permanent deals yet, and we expect potential escalations of tariff warfare. And so far, in terms of striking a nuclear deal with Iran, it doesn't look like it's going very well, given that Israel is so panicked now that they are preemptively striking against Iran to minimize the ability for Iran to get access to potentially as many as 15 bombs in what they say could be a matter of days, which is, quite scary. Now, there are dozens of nuclear facilities spread throughout Iran. I do have a map of those nuclear facilities. I'll throw that up on screen in just a moment here. But there are a lot of them. So I want you to see this on screen here so you could get a little bit of an overview of where these facilities are. You can see that there are waste disposal sites. Here, just outside of Natanz, you can see the uranium enrichment and research facility. So you've got military testing facilities close to Tehran. You've got power reactors closer to the southwest. You've got uranium mining facilities. You've got unknown facilities. You've got research reactors in various different locations. And then, of course, you have uranium enrichment sites very much in the heart of Tehran here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds. And of course, Bibi says that these strikes are going to take days to complete. And we are also waiting to see what happens with counterattacks. With that said, I was supposed to be at bowling with my son, and I think it's time to go bowling with my son and try to catch up the tail end of whatever I can. So I'm going to go do that now. I love you all, so please do consider subscribing to the channel. You can download the Meet Kevin app in the Apple and Android App Store to get sort of my notes on written news, news if you want to see those. You could get notifications on videos. You can customize those notifications too. So if you only want geopolitical, you only want real estate, you only want stocks, you don't want anything on Trump, or you only want Fed, you could customize that in the Meet Kevin app. You could grab it in the Apple and Android App Store. Anyway, look, I don't want to see any more loss of life. I love you all. I hope this ends. Hopefully we just, you know, we get a little baby tit for tat reaction from Iran. We shoot all this crap down and it's over. That said, that's all I got for us tonight. Thank you again so much for being with me. And I'm sorry, here we are reporting on, you know, World War III-esque style news again. This is ridiculous, and it shouldn't be like this. Thanks so much, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, and good luck out there.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.